Good morning, guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Mark. So for today, we're gonna have another DIY session. If you're new to my channel, if you love DIYs and cars, please consider subscribing and check out my playlist. All right, so for today's DIY, I'm gonna share with you guys on how you will be able to flush your radiator and replace the coolant on your cooling system. Okay, so first thing that we want to do on this DIY would be to basically remove the entire front bumper, so it would be easier for us to work on the radiator. Okay, so I already have a video on that one. I'm gonna link it to the description box below. All right, so before we begin, we need to understand first what we are doing and why should we be doing it. Okay, so what we will be doing today is basically flushing out our radiator system and our coolant reservoir. Okay, so the reason behind it is in our or in every vehicle's owner's manual, it is recommended by the manufacturer for the coolant to be replaced at least sometimes every year. Some of the manufacturers, depending on the coolant that they are using, it sometimes lasts up to 3 years. Okay, so the reason why is because in time coolant undergoes electrolysis. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly, where the coolant gains electrical charge and flows through your cooling system, basically your engine. What happens is it basically damages your electrical or electronic sensors and damages the aluminum component of your engine and corrodes your radiator fins or radiator coils, etc., etc. So that's the reason why we need to flush our cooling system at least the least would be once a year. The most would be once every 3 years, depending on the coolant that you will be using. And also, if you change your coolant habitually, it prevents corrosion on your radiator, protects your water pump, and saves you a lot of money. It's actually way cheaper for us to change the coolant on the cooling system instead of us replacing the water pump and other component that might get damaged in time. And again, electrolysis is a process where your coolant or yeah the coolant gains electrical charge, and that messes up our electronic sensors on the engine. Okay, all right, so now that the bumper is out of the way, all we need to do is remove this cover so that we'll be able to reach out the uh, intake hose from your radiator going to the engine, and we'll be able to remove this by removing the push pin locks, which is this, and this. All right, guys. So I'm underneath the car. Um, I actually used a vice grip to hold the hose clamp, which is this one, to open up, as you can see right there. And all I need to do now is pull out the hose for the coolant on the radiator to be flushed out, and the remaining coolant on the intake hose for the engine. I'm gonna do that in a bit. I'm just gonna prepare my catch pan for the coolant. And at this point, guys, all we need to do is basically pull out the intake hose, go into your engine, and make sure you have your coolant drain pan available. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and pull down or pull out the hose right at the bottom. And again, prepare your uh, drain pan. Okay, almost out. All right, so that's a bit messy. That's a bit messy, but it's okay. Um, you see the coolant? It's already it has already turned black. The last time I flushed was, I think, 3 years ago. So that's what happens to your coolant. All right, so it's still draining, but what we're going to do is we're gonna flush the radiator using a running water like this one. So wait until the water that's coming out from your radiator turns crystal clear. And also the coolant that's spilled out, make sure you rinse those with running water. Okay, just like that one. Okay, I'm gonna flush the radiator for a good 3 minutes. I'm gonna let the water flush out any debris or whatsoever. I'm just gonna put the coolant in a container. One moment.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I actually found the list of PMS that I did, and I'd like to share with you guys the condition of my radiator coils. Um, I actually replaced my coolant 2 years ago. That's the reason why it's actually a bit black and has lots of debris. But look inside the radiator. Look at the coils. So it's crystal clear, no debris, no corrosion, no nothing. See that? Um, Let me just try to zoom it out. Okay, there you go. So no foreign objects, no debris whatsoever. So that's actually that's what happens if you maintain your cooling system and flush it once in a while. I actually use the hose as well to wash down the intake hose going to the engine with water. Okay, so I'll just continue the process for about 2 minutes more, and you will see right at the bottom it's already clear. So by the way, there's no coolant anymore. That's the reason why I'm just letting it flow. I'm just making sure that there's no debris left on my radiator. Right. So after flushing the radiator, we want to flush out our coolant reservoir to be sure that everything is clean. All we need to do is remove the hose. All right, like that, and then okay, just follow the hose itself. Let me just pull that up like so. Then there you go. Okay, so it's already flushing out. There you go. You just need to make sure that the hose is lower than the radiator itself, like that. So we'll just need to wait for the reservoir to flush out, and we'll flush it out with running water as well. So right now you're seeing just water basically from the reservoir as I am flushing it with running water, like so. Same with the radiator. Alright guys, so I'm at the bottom of the car again, and all we need to do now is basically return this hose to back to our radiator. Right, let's see if you guys will be able to see it right there. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see this, but I'm gonna return it first. Basically all you need to do is just push the hose inside the tube from your radiator, and I'm gonna explain later what happens. Alright, so I just finished topping off the radiator with coolant using my makeshift funnel. I use about a liter, 1.5 liters. Alright, so complete flashing is done, guys. While waiting, I actually took the opportunity to clean the plastic cover there, everything. I even sprayed the condenser. So before returning the plastic here, you might want to do a leak test first on the drain hose that we removed right at the bottom, right there. So in order for you to test for leaks is we need to start the engine. Alright, so our engine is on, and just take a peek on that area, and you can even see or check for leaks here. That water is actually from the condenser. I wiped it clean. So to check for leaks, basically just look on this area, right on the hose, right there. Since our coolant is colored green, if there are any leaks, so you should be seeing green stains. And right now I don't see any leaks, so we've done a good job. Okay, so what I will be doing now is basically return the headlight assembly, the front bumper, and that's it. Our DIY is complete.
12 seconds later.
Alright, so that concludes our DIY session for today, guys. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and kindly check the playlist. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Until our next DIY.